We begin with Rayleigh running, holding Saki in his arms amidst the Roger versus Rocks scuffle. While jogging, Rayleigh was about to say something but gets cut off. I guess he was about to profess his love for Saki.
I love you.
Anyway, we see Kid Kuma and Frankie's father, Ivankov. Let's see, he has bluish hair, sports a starry speedo, and he has a knack for anatomy modification.
Twins.
They found the devil fruits in the Celestial Dragon storeroom Ginny had informed her about in chapter 1096. So the Celestial Dragons have an abundance of fruits to give away as prizes. Roger Pirates discovered devil fruits later in the chapter as well. The nobles don't care that much about devil fruits. They were feeding some to the enslaved Hancock and her sisters for shits and giggles. Frankie's dad choked and lost the fish fruit. Well, Big Mom choked it out of him. But at least Kuma did his part and now possesses the pop powers. Fuck, I need a new prescription again. Why else would I be seeing Marco in the flesh, kicking my boy Silver Axe? Why is he here? Marco at this time should be finishing school. Sengoku and Garp have a chat about the human hand, finally realizing the extent of the Celestial Dragon's debauchery. This would be, I presume, the turning point, the final straw, and the impetus for creating Sword. Garp mentions something about this being a dream. He alludes to that sentiment in the chapter finale again. Oda uses that phrase occasionally when shit hits the fan. I feel like there's something there, i.e., it's all a fucking dream.
It was all a dream.
Luffy's about to wake up in a fish barrel in East Blue. Now for the meat of the chapter, we have Zbeck versus Garling and the demon spawns of Imu. Is the transformation caused by a different ability? He asks. I must say, no. Imagine in the final battle winning against Imu by tricking him into petting some sea stone butterflies. Zbeck grabbed Eris and Teach and is now sprinting, like Rayleigh did with Saki some pages ago, while Garling is struggling to regenerate. Apparently, the more powerful the blows, the longer it takes. I mean, that's how recovery normally works anyway. Zbeck describes the torture a Davy man would endure at the hands of the government as worse than hell, which means he either has personal experience or heard about another victim. How about the original Davy Jones, who was punished, cursed to wander the seas aimlessly and eternally as a fucking oversized elephant? But let's talk about the elephant in the room, Eris, who can take care of herself. Or, if she can't, she will commit infanticide before killing herself. Always good to have a plan B. So, along with Teach, she bolts. Rookie mistake. That's the difference between Zbeck's situation and Rayleigh's from earlier. Oda is telling us that together we're stronger. Eris, by the way, looks suspiciously similar to Ginny. I mean, Ginny in the future, grown up, because the actual Ginny is also there. So, it's her mother, why not? Wait, but then Blackbeard would be Bonnie's uncle. Yikes. Let go of your niece, you creep. They intend to have a family reunion at Lulusia. Lulusia was one of the places Ace visited in his cover story while hunting Blackbeard, so he must have went there. Everything connects. Speaking of Blackbeard, I gotta say, Lil Teach looks a bit like a young Hody Jones, who shares the surname of Blackbeard's ancestor, Mr. Davy Jones the First. I'm speculating a link there. Remember how Buccaneers have giant blood? What if the Davy guys have some fishman flowing in their veins? That's why Blackbeard sails in a fucking raft. He's not afraid of the deep. Kaido bangs Big Mom and eats her booty. So that was the lifelong debt Big Mom was nagging about. Dragon is there, also running, carrying baby Shanks. Everyone's running in this bitch. Reminds me of Punk Hazard. Meanwhile, Roger's crew uncovers some loot, along with more devil fruits. Since no one we know on Roger's ship has any confirmed abilities, except Buggy of course, I wonder what fruits could this be? Not the Gomu Gomu no Mi by any chance. Saturn admires the annihilation of God Valley, and while texting telepathically with a Gorosei, he says, "We risk something else being unleashed. Let me guess. The Hito no Mi model Nika. We just saw in the same page the part of Kuma's flashback where he specifically mentions Nika to Saturn's face. At the same time, in a panel below that, Kaido unleashes his newly acquired dragon form from a stolen devil fruit. One small problem though. The world government supposedly didn't have possession of the Nika fruit for 800 years. Interestingly, Saturn left Kuma unsupervised to freely free the slaves. He's a good guy deep down. While Kuma is saving people by slapping them throughout the world slaps back. A massive monstrosity materializes. It's Imu, mounting Saturn, ready to whoop everyone in a battle royale. Kaido, Whitebeard, Zbeck, Roger and Garp. What a stacked team. More stacked than the KD Warriors. I'm sure they would beat anyone in the world. But what about the world itself? Quite a fascinating characterization by Rox. This is the part where Garp considers the dream possibility, while Roger treats this as an adventure. World Dreams Adventure. Sounds like One Piece, alright. Now let's talk about Imu. Of course, Imu and the world go hand in hand, since he created it. If we believe Imu's worshippers, the creator, the architect, the author of the story. What story? The story in which the characters of the One Piece world are trapped in, forced to follow its trope and cliché, also called by some fate. Imu is the fate writer. He can control that shit. Except the initial D lineage. Very convenient, considering there are 3 of them right in front of Imu. But that's why those are exactly the characters that spoil the party. And also the reason why my man David Zbeck will not get fucking controlled. No way. A more likely scenario would be him landing on the neck of the tarantula and starting to ride it bareback, thus fulfilling his dream of getting on top of the world.
I'm the king of the world!
Mark my words. I know this sounds like a foregone conclusion, but just in case, I'm cooking some other ideas about our dear Imu for another video. Well, until then, peace.